You want an adult to be able to have a career and provide for themselves. You want an adult to know how to clean up a house. You want an adult to know how to cook. You want an adult to know how to pay their bills on time. You want an adult to know a lot of just basic shit in life, right? So I don't know if that's programming for women. I think it's more so how we're raised. Our parents raised girls to live and survive. That's not how they raise boys. So that's kind of where things, kind of separate. So if we have an issue, we got to talk about it at the root.
Men are mama's boys. They will testify that their mom may not have made them throw away the garbage, do their laundry, pay no bills. There's grown women who are competing with men's mamas right now because they acting like they man or their freaking girlfriend or like going back and forth with having a battle with who's the woman of the house or who's the woman in his life, the top priority or whatever. So it's like,
who make the best mac and cheese?
Right, like you can, or so you cannot act like that's not a thing as well. Like there's a lot of men who are raised by their mom, especially in our community. I don't want to say especially a single mom, but sometimes a single mom, and they're like, yeah, well, my mama did all of this stuff for me. So what you about to do, right? And if you're expect him to have some sort of independence, responsibility, whatever, pay or just be present, be active, proactive in the house.
They're
like,
know how.
Exactly.
Right.
So it's like...
It's crazy to me. Can I just say everything that I need to say? It's
Go
a
ahead.
lot. First of all, it's crazy to me that women that have a dad, right, want men to do everything that their dad has done, okay? Women that have a dad expect for a man to do everything that their father did, right? Am I right or wrong, Aaron?
No, can you explain what that means?
That means if your dad provided, if your dad protected, if your dad was loving and caring, whatever, if he was overly emotional, if he was overly strong, you typically tend to go, hold on, I'm not done, don't interrupt me.
No, you asked me a question.
No, I wasn't done yet. I was just making sure. I want to finish my thoughts.
Boy, if you don't go ahead and finish.
All right, so let me start from the top.
Oh my God.
It's crazy to me that if a woman who had a father present wants a man to emulate a lot of the things her father, or a lot of characteristics her father had, right? Now, when a guy had only his mother present, we shame him because he wants a woman to emulate a lot of the characteristics that his mother had. We have to be mindful of what your upbringing is. Shout out to Marie. If your upbringing means you're accustomed to a man doing that for you, then the next man that decides to be with you has to meet those standards and criteria.
But that goes against you saying that they're programmed to be single.
Hold up. No, it does not. I'm about to get to you, right? I'm about to get to that. If a man wants a woman, if a man is raised by a single woman, and he's expecting a single woman to do everything for him, such as you mentioned, right? He gets shamed upon because women aren't supposed to do that. So now it's like, well, as a lady, when are you going to pick your side of the fence? Because if I was a woman, or for example, I'm a guy. I'm not even going to say if I was a woman. I'm a guy who grew up with a single mother who did everything.
Right.
Okay? At what point I had to decide as an adult.
Where did you get it from?
Time out. No, it's not. I didn't get it from nowhere.
So how did you learn it?
Hold on. I had to decide as an adult what works. Okay? And guess what? Once I decided as an adult what's worked, you know what I did? I stopped getting all of my homies who was raised by single mothers because they knew nothing.
Okay.
I started getting new homies that had both parents in the crib so I can learn something.
So you learned it from somewhere.
But what I'm trying to say is people tend to click on to their friend groups who suffer from the same traumatic upbringings as them. And I don't knock it for it because misery loves company. But I'm saying me and people like myself who grew up with a non-two-parent household have to understand that the way that we grew up was not right. It was not right and it was not conducive to the child. And the only way you can fix those patterns and fix those tendencies is if you actually learn to start to look outside of yourself, get a friend group, a mentorship, whatever it may be.
I agree
so
with
then
that.
that way you can start to learn to fix your home. These are solutions that Aaron like to talk about.
You brought up daughters who are raised by their father. It is very rare when compared to single mothers raising sons that single fathers raise daughters. So we are not comparing apples to apples with that statement. So let's
Can I
first
make a clarification?
What?
I was talking about being raised with, not by. So if you were raised with a dad, even if you were separate, but your dad was present.
But that's different. You can't compare someone being raised with their father, okay, in a two-parent home to someone who's raised singularly by their mother.
Yes, I can, because when you're talking about singular, you're talking about singular versus a duality. You're talking about two people versus one. I don't care if you go to your dad's house every other weekend or your mom's house every other weekend. You have both parents present. That means you have an ideology of a respect for both genders. I'm using you as an example. Yeah. She had, quote unquote, no idea. You understand what I said? She had no idea of what a guy was supposed to do because her, and as long as almost all of her friends had no men in her own family, had no men present. How is she supposed to understand what a man is supposed to do or a role he's supposed to play if none of them are present? Now, if she had somebody that was there, potentially, she might be like, okay, look, maybe my parents don't work for X amount of reasons. But guess what? When I do go to my dad's house, this is what my dad does. Now she starts to build an ideology of what a man is actually supposed to do rather than trying to guess and fantasize on what they're supposed to do.
Rico,
three different scenarios.
Thank you question.
So a lot of things, this is what we're talking about. You asked, what's the programming? The programming is this. Most of the things that are being asked upon are being taught to desire.
I don't know what that means.
Okay. Let me give you an example. I wasn't.
You see, TikTok was like, "Now I'm not Bob the Builder." Women don't want to build.
Tell me, go ahead.
Y'all gonna get slaughtered out here.
If I go back and
slaughter me, the fuck? I'm sorry, I'm not starting from the bottom. I started from the bottom on my own. I'm not starting from the bottom with somebody else.
But that's the thing. Like when I say that, when I tell you, Aaron, you're fortunate, it's because you found someone in the other 15 percentile and the other opposite end, and the odds are stacked against you, who actually is a good person.
I'm gonna let you know something.
Well, I don't know much about it, but I'm speaking on the outside.
No. Where does the programming come from? That's what I really want. Do you want to know, Cuddy? That's what I want to know.
Aaron talk.
Well,
okay, where does the programming
everybody
come
saying
from?
let Aaron talk.
Where does it start at?
Okay, so we can go as far back as we want to, but let's go in layers.
Okay.
Okay, first and foremost, I'm going to say, and I'm going to reiterate this, the programming comes from the desires that women are choosing from, the desires that women possess, we're taught to desire, okay? So that means women were taught to desire a man with money.
From where?
Okay. We're gonna go. We're gonna get there.
Go.
But we gotta understand the journey.
Go. Where they started? Okay, where it started at?
So like, it does boil down to what is the hype. Okay, women have been buying into the hype at least for the last 30 years.
What is the hype?
The hype is what is popular. If a soccer player who was going D1 in high school, but soccer wasn't popular and football was, you chose a football player over the soccer player, even though soccer makes more money than football. This is where, don't let me finish my thought.
Soccer is football.
Football. Can I finish my thought? So,
yo, you gotta clarify.
No. Football and football is different. All right? And America is football. All right? America is soccer and football. So what I'm trying to say is, when you're taught to buy into the hype, this is what is good for you. A man who makes money. In 2022, it's a man who is emotionally intelligent, who possesses feminine characteristics and can understand a woman. In 1990, it's a man who is handy with his hands, a man who can build, a man who can do everything to fix around the house. So women are taught to buy into the hype. This is what I'm talking about with programming.
You wanna? In 1980
no.
was something different.
In
1970 was a different man. In 1960 was a different man.
To a woman's credit, the same way y'all are taught to buy into the hype of what is the idealistic man for your time frame.
So even TikTok can say every 10 years the hype changes.
And the same thing for men. Guess what? At one point in time, thick women was the thing. If you were skinny, you weren't lit. Right? Then skinny women was a thing. If you were thick, you weren't lit. Now you got to look like a silicone Betty Boop.
What's the dollar amount?
Ever a moment that if the popular thing was skinny women, that thick women weren't getting men?
Wait, can I just point one thing out?
We're not sustaining them.
Let me just point.
Aaron, go. All right, Aaron,
let me just point one thing out.
Oh, all right, Aaron.
Because we're talking about programming, right? I just want to be real. You know who programmed me to be with a man with money? My motherfucking daddy. My daddy always said, don't be with nobody that's broke, because you can be broke by yourself. And if you find yourself in situations where a man can't do for you, fuck it, leave. You know why? Because you got a daddy. I'ma do for you. I'ma do for you until you find your husband. I'ma do for you until you can do for yourself. So for me, I've never had experiences where I'm just gonna sit around and deal with some bullshit, because at the end of the day, I'm a dub you won, or if you prove yourself just to not work for me, I'm good. And I don't need it. You know, again, who taught me that?
Right. And
my daddy.
Who taught me was my grandma. She said you can't take his ding-a-ling to the grocery store.
Thank you. My point. Thank you.
Wait, watch
Keep
that
it
table.
going. Keep it going. Keep it going.
But you're saying that the programming, you're not telling us where the programming started from. We're basically telling you it started from home.
Thank you.
We're talking about using them two examples, and please put this all together. Please put this all together. Post. Erin learned from her father. Mm-hmm. You learned from your grandmother. Mm-hmm. Y'all want to go ahead and use the subjective, general, vague term of home. I'm a principle guy. I focus on the principle.
Okay.
The principle of her learning how to get a man with money was because her dad said, I got you no matter what.
Okay.
The principle of your grandmother telling you to get money is because if men don't got you, you got to have yourself. These are the principles.
That programmed you.
This is programming 101. You had a safety blanket, whether or not you want to realize it.
No, I did.
You did. But you're very few of the ones who are taught to who are programmed to go this route. You're that person that if no matter what happened, your family, I'm not saying this is an analogy, by the way. You're that person no matter what happened, your family had money. You can fail 1,000 times.
Not really.
Yes.
I didn't know. No,
He's
it's not.
using money.
I'm not using
He's
money.
just
I mean, you had a safety blanket. You had your dad there.
They'll let me move home?